Hey everybody, John here. Today I'm going to be covering Hurd and Licciardo Musso's 2005 article, Lesson Study, Teacher-Led Professional Development in Literacy Instruction. Lesson study is a format in which teachers collaborate to plan, teach, and reflect on a lesson to improve the practice. It values progress over perfection. It is the learning of the teachers and the improvement of their practice that is the important part, not planning and executing the perfect lesson. It also values developing a habit of student-focused planning and reflecting. It's not a one and done sort of deal. It's making sure that this is an ongoing practice. Student-focused planning and reflecting looks like student perspectives on lessons, analyzing student thinking, predicting student outcomes, and also reflecting on data from student work. Two of the most important features of lesson study are one, planning, observing, and reflecting on research lessons. These are lessons that are specially designed to be analyzed, for people to come in, watch how it's done, and then reflect and debrief on it later. Another important aspect is that this is done collaboratively, not in isolation. So a group of teachers get together, they plan out a lesson together, they observe one teacher teaching the lesson, and then they get back together to reflect on how things went. The planning, observation, and reflecting that comes with lesson planning can be broken down into 7 distinct steps. It starts by forming a lesson study group. This is typically 4 to 6 teachers, but it can work with other sizes. It then progresses into setting professional development goals. What do we, as the educators, want to get out of our time together? What do we want to learn from each other? And collaborating on norms on how to handle the time and the space and the interactions can help achieve this. It then progresses to step 3, setting student goals. Now that the teachers are squared away, let's focus on the kids. What particular skill should students get out of a particular lesson that we are going to work together to plan, which is the next step? It's advised to build upon previous lessons that address a student's skill. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here, we just maybe need to tune it up a bit and make it work for what we're trying to do and bring in other people's perspectives, ideas, and experiences. We then teach the lesson. One teacher volunteers to actually teach for the benefit of the other teachers. The other teachers are then observing that teacher and the lesson and the students, taking notes on how the students engage with the lesson. It's very important, though, that these observing teachers do not engage with or distract the students, because that can muddle the results of the observation. They are flies on the wall. It then moves on to debriefing the lesson back with the teacher group. Based on the observations and student work, how did this particular strategy or experiment impact student success? What actually worked here? And lastly, based on everything else, we can draw conclusions. What observations did we make that will impact future instruction? This model features several ways in which it can be effective. First of all, it is collaborative. People work together to create something and help teach each other something, even from the get-go. And you also get feedback and provide feedback to and from your colleagues, which is a good source of learning how to become a better teacher. And watching your colleagues teach a lesson, you can gain things from that as well. And finally, it is flexible. You can study just about anything, try out just about anything. If you have a wild notion, let's try it out. But it can also be effective because of getting around time constraints. The article mentions that this can work with meetings that happens just once a month. Going back to the idea of time constraints, that once a month can still crop up at inconvenient times, and also being out of the room to do the observations, that can be particularly challenging. Could mean that that teacher has less time to prep other lessons or do grade papers. And for some teachers, it could mean that they need to get somebody else then to cover their classroom while they're out visiting somebody else's room. There's also a certain amount of pressure. Even if you are on good terms with your colleagues, which I hope everybody is, it puts a certain amount of pressure to perform well and to teach good. And I did that intentionally. Um, from personal experience, we have done this before, and having a half dozen colleagues in the same room honestly felt a little intimidating. Um, so there can be too much of a good thing. So when can lesson studies be incorporated or applied to a school setting? Well, really, any time, as long as time can be made for the planning, the observing, and the reflecting of the lesson. I think, though, it would work best if the teachers involved had a shared curriculum. They teach similar subjects, similar lessons, similar topics, because then whatever lesson planning happens can then be applied to the other teachers' days. Whatever teaching moves happen during the observation can also be applied. That's not to say that teachers with disparate curricula can't benefit from this. It's always beneficial to watch somebody else at work and living their best teaching life. Um, but it would be helpful if the observations and the lessons can be directly applied. When it comes to professional development at Prosser High School, lesson studies could be readily incorporated. As the authors of the article explained, lesson studies can be effective in as few meetings as one per month, as long as we get a couple of hours to do the planning, and can be done in lieu of attending a staff meeting. Um, and this has been proven in the past. This has been an effective model of collaboration when teaching consultants were visiting Prosser High School. We would change things up a tiny bit. We would actually pick the teacher first, then collaborate on a lesson that they were planning to teach in the next few days. Then we would go to that teacher's classroom and observe, and then come back and reflect on how things went. I learned a lot from this model and from my other colleagues, from the coaches, all around. I like to think everybody got a little something from everybody.